one of the things that I've been recently fairly passionate about is making it easier for people when they're learning a new code base to actually understand in a guided way how that code base is structured without having to go read documentation or rely on a brown bag or working with someone on the team to do it. And so we have this project that we've recently been exploring, which is called a CodeTour. And so you'll see here, I've got open the guestbook repo that we were just working on. And as soon as I open it up, on the left side, I have this CodeTour window, which is indicating to me that there is a tour called main that is composed of 5 steps. And I'm going to just hit this play button. And what that's going to do is start to walk me through a guided tour of this code base. And so here you can see step 1 of 5. And what's kind of cool about it is instead of me reading about the code base in kind of a contributing.md or in a wiki, I'm actually immersed in the code base itself and being able to orient myself more deeply. So here, step 1, let me boost the font a little bit, right, is saying, hey, this is where the main application is registered. It's like, okay, so let me go to step 2. This is, the grid is a separate component, it handles outlining. And so I can navigate this tour, which is actually walking me through in a way that I might not otherwise be able to intuit on my own. So here it's like, oh, we randomly pick a signature. Here I'm on step 5. You'll notice that the tour, in addition to being able to be associated with a line of code, it can also highlight a block of text. So here it's kind of calling out that lines 24 through 31 is how, remember when we ran the guest book,
yes,
it would, every 2 seconds, it would kind of animate showing one of the signatures on the book more prominently. This is talking about that. But even more so, you'll notice that the tour can also enable kind of interactivity. And so here it's saying, hey, if you want to see how this looks, go ahead and run this command. And within the comment is a link to run npm start. And so as soon as I click that, it automates running that command from the terminal. And here, in fact, I can now see, oh yeah, okay, cool, there's the guest book, right? And this is the active cell that the code was just explaining to me, where it sets the border to be much thicker and it animates the z-index and kind of the width and height to be more prominent. And so what's kind of useful about that is that it kind of allows the team to capture knowledge that might otherwise be lost in documentation or kind of trapped in people's minds and codify it into the code base itself, such that anyone that is working on it can immediately benefit from that knowledge at any time. This kind of thing has value in general, but even more so in cases where you're working remotely. Maybe people are in different time zones or have different working schedules, right? Right now, certainly, you have people that are working slightly different hours because of having kids at home. And so the more that you can capture knowledge in a way that can scale asynchronously, that has a lot of benefits for teams to work. And so the other thing is, because the tour is part of the code base, I can take it n number of times without having to refer back to docs or kind of say, hey, Michael, can you walk me through that again? I forget how this works. It's kind of always there for me in order to kind of remind myself exactly how things work. And so recording tours is actually pretty easy as well, right? So imagine you work on a team and you want to create a tour that explains how the grid legend works. All you do is you start recording a new tour, you give it a name, so we'll call it legend. And you'll notice as soon as I did that, now this legend tour shows up in the tour tree and the recording state. And I can just start navigating the code base and annotating the lines that are relevant. So I'll select this block of code and this is the main legend component. And I'll hit add, and that added that file to the tour. I can jump to another file subheading and, this is how it gets styled. And as I add those, you'll notice that it's recording those steps with the tour. And then I can stop recording, and you'll notice now that the legend tour is now codified in the repo. I can then play it back, and it's going to replay the exact same tour that I just captured. And behind the scenes, this is actually just a JSON file that is written to the repo itself. And so that's cool because I can check this in. The team can code review this tour as a group, and then anyone that then clones this repo or pulls this changes will automatically get the benefit of that tour. And then one other quick thing that I'll just call out that I didn't show before is the tour adds these little markers to the gutter next to lines that have a tour associated with it. And so that's interesting because imagine that I'm investigating a bug in a file and I organically discover that this line has a tour associated with it. So as I hover, it says, hey, CodeTour main step 3. I can start that and I can immediately potentially gain some insight about this code that I wouldn't otherwise have known because I'm not thinking to go reference documentation or whatnot. And I can start to navigate this. And so, yeah, CodeTour is, in many ways, another angle to the kind of setup or onboarding and collaboration goals that my team is trying to go after with both Visual Studio Online and LiveShare.
So you can think of this as kind of like even like a virtual like brown bag or like a table of contents. And so I have a repo, and I'll switch over to my other screen just for a moment here. I've been working on this project, Azure Tips and Tricks, for quite a bit of time. This project, it's been going on, and I'm pretty proud of it. This is the master GitHub Azure Tips and Tricks repo, and this is one of the things that I was thinking about here. One of the issues that I have, and this is kind of going back to kind of like real world like scenarios, I have my GitHub repo, and inside of this GitHub repo, my number one issue is that I've got folks that want to contribute to tips and tricks, or they may find some code that I wrote like 2 years ago for this thing that's completely like outdated. And so I do have each one of the pages on the site has the ability to come down here and you can like edit this page on GitHub. And all it does is it just pulls it up. But one of my biggest problems is that I have an issue with people that they want to contribute, but they don't know how. And so right now I have a bunch of like documentation or that sort of things. And so with CodeTour, which I just pasted in, what I can kind of do now is that I can create a tour file. I can put it inside of my repo, and with some of the things that Jonathan was just showing us, I could then let them kind of go on a guided tour of here is what the repo looks like. There's a couple of different branches. This is one file that you need to update. I would show them like the different types of like files that I have here. They could go over to ViewPress. They could see kind of the themes, and that we have like configuration files where we put it into proper categories. But by using this amazing CodeTour thing that you have been building, I can now make that a lot easier for my folks that want to contribute to my project as well. Is that kind of it?
Yeah.
Awesome. So there is a thing here of looking at an actual tour file. So I will switch back over the desktop to you. And if we can take a look at the actual tour file, that would be helpful.
The underlying JSON?
Like if I have a repo and I wanted to add something like this in there, can you show us that?
I mean, you wouldn't want to, that's the recording process that I was just doing.
Okay.
Basically, like I was saying, if you want to create a new tour, you would start recording, give it a name, so we'll just call it demo.
Yep.
And then you actually have this visual recorder where I can select lines of code and say, this is the first thing. And actually, this also supports Markdown, so I can type, JavaScript code, for example, and that'll be formatted correctly. And so as soon as I just start creating these steps, step number 2, that is creating the tour visually, right? And so here, if we look on the left side, there's the demo tour. As I started, it plays it. Behind the scenes, it is in fact creating a file. And so like if I open up demo.js, actually this is kind of cool. So you'll notice on the left side, I have the tour open. On the right side is the JSON file that's being created. The two are actually kept in sync, and so if you really wanted to, you could edit this directly. So let me change the title in the JSON file directly to demo2. As soon as I hit save, you'll notice that it actually re-renders that to say demo 2. Let me change this to that, and so that updated. So you kind of, the recording process allows you to choose what's more efficient for you, either the visual recorder or the raw JSON file. But the benefit of the tour being persisted as a JSON file is, one, it's easy to search across. If I want to use Visual Studio Code's code search, I can search across the contents of all tours because it's just a file in the repo versus needing some different way of searching across them. I can do search and replace as well, but also the file becomes easy to do code reviews on. As, let's say, I want to update the description of a step in the tour, add a new step, it becomes an asset that people in the team can actually collaborate on, versus it being kind of an opaque asset that you kind of have to just trust is works right.
Yes, that's very cool. And so inside, when you commit this to your GitHub repo, you have the .vs code, and then underneath that, that is where these JSON files live. So when you commit, folks that are just pulling those down, you can see here it's got VS Code, and then you've got, there are the three like JSON files. One of the things I'm seeing is it would be cool if like there was some way GitHub could like show CodeTour enabled. I kind of like that idea a lot. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because then you could like know, oh, okay, well I can actually get solid help. We need to maybe ask for that. And yes, you can do things such as rearranging steps, deleting steps, and editing. And then there was also the shell command. I think you ran the npm shell command here, didn't you?
This tour here, it's able to say, hey, run this, and you click it, and it starts the application in this case.
Gotcha. And so the other thing here is, can you version tours?
You can. So actually, let me show that again. When you record a tour, so I'll do demo 2, one of the questions that it asks you is, what kind of Git reference do you want to associate the tour with? And the reason that that's useful is because it allows the tour to remain consistent in the midst of like refactorings or things that could happen in the code base. And so, for example, I could say version this tour, like associate it with the current commit. That way I can record this knowing that if you move a line down from line 5 to line 10, when somebody replays the tour, it's going to continue to work the exact same way because they'll replay it on top of the commit that it was recorded on. And so that's kind of a key capability of the CodeTour as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then if you decide you don't want one, you just delete it. And so the fact that those tours behind the scenes are JSON files is not really something you have to worry about. That's more of kind of a benefit of how you can version the files. But everything in terms of editing steps, rearranging steps. In fact, I didn't show that, but like, let me edit this tour. And as soon as you do, you'll notice in the tree there are these arrows that let you move steps up and down. And so I can make, it's step 1, and I can edit the text to this, I can modify that. And so everything in terms of recording, editing, and playing the tours is entirely kind of visual through this tour tree versus having to modify any file assets manually.
Awesome. And I guess that may bring us over to